Remember to identify yourselves, and if that is okay, your affiliation as well. And please also remember to specify the panelist to whom you're addressing the question. Sean Tandon, please.
Thank you. Sean Tandon. I'm a journalist with the AFP news agency. To Dr. O, just a couple things to follow up. Since your daughters have been there for quite a long time, what's the state that you would imagine that they would be in? Is it possible that they've become indoctrinated into the system? How confident are you that about what their state is right now? And also, just more in general terms, could you explain a bit the reasons for your visit to the U.S.? What do you hope to accomplish by taking your message here? Thank you.
예, 오 박사님, 따님들하고 오랫동안 떨어져 있었기 때문에 북한에서 세뇌 교육을 받을 가능성이 있는 딸들과의 현재 상황에 대한 의견과 그다음에 이번에 미국에 방문하는 목적에 대해서 설명해 주십시오.
따님의 상황에 대해서 먼저 말씀해 주세요. 그거 해주고 나면 Let me explain the second question first. The reason why we are here in DC. We are here, as I explained, there are several precedents which have been solved by the efforts of international community, especially the U.S. administration and also U.S. Congress, by passing resolutions and put pressure more on the relevant countries. So we also expect, of course, we know the South Korean government also have interest and concerns about this issue, but we need more and multiple influence on North Korean authorities. So probably we urge you also to raise your voices about this to your government and Congress. And we also plan to have a visit to Germany to ask German government to arrange a meeting between Dr. Oh and her two daughters. In order to make it, we also want to ask U.S. government and Congress to ask German governments and also to put pressure more on neutral governments in the world, which have diplomatic relations with North Korea. So we first one is to ask U.S. government and Congress to help us, and also to raise awareness from the South Korean community around DC and New York. Yeah. And he is talking about the sentiment of her daughters. And
yes, please.
저와 내 딸이 헤어진 지는 26년이 됐습니다.
It's been 26 years since I got separated from my daughters.
물론 그 동안에 제 두 딸은 계속되는 세뇌를 받았을 거로 생각합니다.
I'm certain that they have been continuously exposed to brainwashing.
그러나 아무리 세뇌를 하더라도 제 딸의 회원 교원의 아버지에 대한 원래의 감정은 세뇌로 부서지지 않을 거로 알고 있습니다.
But despite all the brainwashing, I believe that my daughters, Haewon's and Kyuwon's fundamental feelings toward me would not have changed.
처음 제와 두 딸이 예를 들면 독일에서 만났을 때 제 두 딸은 아버지의 말을 부인할 것입니다.
독일에서 만난다면
아버지 말을
네, 아버지 말 거절할 겁니다.
if my daughters and I were to meet in Germany, the first daughter would
예,
deny or refuse my words.
그러나 같이 지내는 동안 하루 달라질 것입니다.
But as we stay together day by day, they will start to change.
그 원래의 감정으로 되돌아올 것입니다.
They'll return to the original love we had.
저는 그것을 믿고 있습니다.
I believe in that.
그래서 세계가 유엔이나 미국이나 독일이나 이런 나라들이 그 두 딸의 예를 들면 유럽 방문 계획을 만들어 가지고 제와 두 딸이 최소한 한 달 정도만 같이 있게 해주면 안 좋겠나, 막 그렇게 생각하고 있습니다.
That's why I have this wish that perhaps the United Nations, United States, and Germany could work together for me to spend about a month with my daughters.
한 달 정도만 지나면은 저의 두 딸도 이제 자유롭게 얘기할 수 있을 게고 그런 진심을 얘기할 수 있을 것으로 생각합니다.
I think that if we could spend about a month together, they'll open up to me and speak truthfully to me.
그것을 확신합니다.
I have faith in that.
저도 한 말씀 첨가하겠습니다. 예를 들어서 일본인 납치자들, 그러니까 북한에 의해서 납치됐던 일본인들의 사례가 있습니다.
I have examples of the Japanese people who were abducted by North Korea.
그들도 북한에 있는 동안 끊임없이 세뇌를 받았습니다.
While they were in North Korea, they were exposed to brainwashing.
하지만 일본에 와서 잠깐 체류하는 동안
But while during a brief stay in Japan,
그들은 세뇌를 포기하고 자신들의 부모를 택했습니다.
they overcame the brainwashing and chose their parents.
문제는 혜원이 기원이가 아버지와 자유로운 만남을 허용하는가 안 하는가에 달려 있다고 보고 있습니다.
I think the critical issue is whether Haewon and Kyuan can have a free meeting with their father.
예.
We'll go to Dr. Y. Park, Rise for Korea next.
I work for NGNK, No Gloves in North Korea. There was a very interesting news recently in Joseon Daily News. It said that Dr. Ogilam's two daughters and Megumi's daughter are under special care by Kim Jong-un's sister. And I don't know how much truth it has in it, so I'd like to ask to Dr. Oh and Mr. Che. And if they are doing this really, why the North Korean government is treating them specially? Is there any good news for the possibility of release in the near future or something else?
김정은 정권이 두 딸을 특별 대우를 하고 있다는 뉴스가 조선일보에 났는데 그것이 사실인지 아시는지, 그 다음에 왜 그렇게 하는지를 거기에 대해서 대답해 주겠습니까? 최 선생님.
아마 확인할 수는 없지만 추정하건대 사실 가능성이 매우 높다고 생각합니다.
We cannot confirm for sure, but it's very likely to be true.
예. 작년에 한국에서 통영에 따른 송환운동이 본격적으로 일어났습니다.
Because we had a huge movement in Korea to free the daughter of Tongyang.
그 운동의 결과로서 우리 혜원이 기원이가 평양으로 옮겨졌다는 소문을 저희들이 확인했었습니다.
And we confirmed that as a result of our efforts last year that Haewon and Kyuan have been moved closer to Pyongyang.
저는 이게 중대한 성과라고 생각하고 있습니다.
And I consider it a major accomplishment.
지금 평양 당국은 혜원이 기원이를 세뇌하기 위해서 각종 어떤 공작을 할 가능성이 매우 높다고 보고 있습니다.
It's highly likely that the Pyongyang government is making all kinds of efforts to brainwash Haewon and Kyuan.
국제사회 압력이 높아지면 높아질수록 혜원이 기원이를 국제사회에 내세워야 될 가능성이 높아지기 때문입니다.
It's because the higher the international pressure the more likely that they'll have to put the two daughters in front of the international community.
네, 그래서 그들은 충분한 영향을 공급하고 있을 것이고 그리고 각종 세뇌를 하고 있을 가능성이 매우 높다고 보고 있습니다.
They're probably treating them very well in order to prepare for them for that day.
조선일보의 보도는 우리가 확인할 수는 없지만 그렇게 추정하고 있습니다.
And for that article in the Joseonilbo, there's no way to confirm, but that's how we're construing this.
Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Annika Ko, and I'm a college student at Dickinson College. I'm here in DC for the Washington Center program. I have a question for Mr. Sung Yong Choi. He mentioned that he helped bringing North Korean abductees from North Korea back to South Korea. I was wondering if it was through an official effort, for example, helping them escape from North Korea, or was it through an official effort using documents and like petitions to the North Korean government?
납북자들을 남한으로 데려오셨다 그러는데 그것이 공식 방법을 통해서 뭐 서류를 증명 서류를 이용한다든지 등의 방법이었는지 아니면 비공식 방법이었는지에 대해서 알고 싶습니다.
지금 이 책을 조금 이렇게 보니까요. 여기 전체가 일본인 납북자 요코다 메구미부터 이렇게 있습니다.
As I look at this book here, they're all Japanese abductees, starting with Yokoda Megumi.
2000년도부터 우리 정부가 햇빛 정책을 쓰면서
Our government started the Sunshine Policy starting in 2000.
비전향 장기수를 63명을 무조건 보냈습니다.
뭐예요?
한국에 있는 비전향 그 사유주의자들
간첩들.
63명을요?
예.
The South government sent 63 socialist activists to North Korea.
저는 그때 방법이 없다. 그래서 자금을 투자해서 북한에 정보원을 두기 시작했습니다.
And I felt helpless at the time, so I started investing my own money to put agents in North Korea.
2000년 4월부터 납북자를 제가 중국으로 끄집어 내오면서 어디 있는 납북자가 어디 있는 것을 정보를 취득하게 됐습니다.
And I started bringing abductees out starting in April of 2000 into China, and I was starting to identify the locations of the abductees in North Korea.
이것은 정부가 아닌 저희 피해자들이 오로지 가족을 살려야겠다는 그런 일념으로 탈출시켰습니다.
This was not done through the government's efforts, but by the victims, the families of the abductees, for the goal of saving our own family members.
오로지 정부가 아닌 가족의 힘으로 탈출시켰습니다.
Not by government's effort, but by the family members.
Yes, ma'am.
I am Yang No-yoon from NGO Foundation for Empowerment. I have a question to Mr. Hong Jae-cho and to Dr. Roberta Cohen. I heard that there was a catastrophe of flooding in North Korea, so that they really desperately need the help from outside. And I also read that the North Korean government finally accepted the South Koreans' offer to help. I'm wondering whether this can be used as an opportunity for leveraging from the South Korean government as well as the U.S. government and others. If that's the case, and what they can do at the same time, what the civil society and others concerned about these issues can do. Thank you.
등에 있는 재난 때문에 북한에서 남한의 그 도움을 받게 된다고 그러는데요. 혹시 이것을 이용해 갖고 우리가 좀 더 인권적인 문제를 갖다 해결할 수 있는지에 대해서 듣고 싶습니다. Would you like to go first?
I wanted to make sure I fully understood the question. Is this about what the United States government can or would do to help North Koreans because of the floods, or are you connecting this, giving assistance to raising human rights concerns? I wasn't quite sure what you...
I mean, whenever there is some momentum, and we have to take a full advantage of it. And this seems to be one momentum through which the outside governments as well as civil societies can make some influence, even if it doesn't last for long. It can spark. So even for long-term human rights movement, there'll be another opening. But particularly at this moment, what the U.S. government can do, because the North Korea desperately needs some help from others. And Kim Jong-un seems to be at least appearing to open to outside world.
Unfortunately, in my opinion, food aid to North Korea, humanitarian assistance to North Korea, or nutritional assistance as it's called, has been linked to progress in nuclear and denuclearization. So the agreement that was reached with North Korea in February was one in which there were steps to be taken for denuclearization, and with those steps, then there would be a certain amount of food aid, of nutritional assistance offered to North Korea. I have found that linkage extremely unfortunate, because then if it doesn't work out, as it did not work out on the nuclear side, then the whole question of humanitarian assistance and food aid is then put aside and becomes almost impossible to move forward. So I myself like to think of food aid as something that should be given on the basis of humanitarian need and the ability to actually get that aid to reach the people who are in need. But at least as far as the United States goes, it has become linked. The U.S. will point out that it was the North Koreans themselves who made the linkage, but I think it was too readily accepted. Whether after the elections, because I don't think, unfortunately, anything will happen before, after the elections, if there can be any sort of discussions quietly behind the scenes that can lead to some kind of humanitarian relief effort, and whether that will be a step to opening a door toward broader discussions and even the kinds of discussions where human rights questions like the Oak Hill Nam case can come up, that is a possibility. That is something to hope for. But right now, that is not the case.
예, 아주 좋은 의견이라고 생각합니다.
That was a good suggestion.
만일에 한국 정부가 북한과의 관계를 설정할 때 서독의 사례를 따랐다면 벌써 혜원이 기원이는 한국에 와 있을 거라고 생각하고 있습니다.
Had South Korean government followed the example of Germany, I think by now we would have had Haewon and Kyuwon back.
서독 정부는 동독 정부에 다량의 지원을 하면서 이걸 인권 문제와 연계시켰습니다.
The West German government tied human rights to all the aids to East Germany.
항상 공식적으로 연계시키진 않았습니다. 비공식적으로 훨씬 더 많은 인권 문제는 비공식적으로 해결을 했었습니다.
Perhaps not officially all the time, but you tied human rights in many unofficial ways.
동독 정부의 체면을 살려주면서도 얼마든지 할 수 있는 방법은 있었다는 것을 확인시켰습니다.
Without embarrassing East Germany, they proved that they could work on the issue of human rights.
그러나 정말 안타깝게도 한국 정부는 그렇게 하지 못했습니다.
But unfortunately, the South Korean government has not done that.
그저 일방적인 지원만 했을 뿐이고 이것을 북한의 인권 문제와 어떻게 실질적인 개선은 전혀 이루어내지 못했습니다.
They provide unilateral aid without tying it to human rights.
심지어 자국민 보호조차 하지 못했습니다. 자국민에 대한 구출, 송환조차 하지 못했습니다.
In fact, South Korean government couldn't even rescue their own South Korean citizens.
지적하신 바처럼 이제 김정은 체제가 개혁 개방 조치를 취할 수밖에 없는 상황에 있습니다.
As you pointed out, Kim Jong-un regime is forced to adopt reform policy.
이 문제 관련해서 이제 남은 관건은 다음에 한국 정부가 어떤 성격의 정책을 구사하느냐에 달려 있습니다.
The next agenda is focused on what kind of policy the South Korean government takes.
올해 12월에 대통령 선거가 있습니다.
We have a presidential election this December.
그래서 이제 다음에 등장할 정부가 어떤 정책을 구사하느냐에 따라서 상당히 많은 부분의 변화가 있을 가능성이 있다고 보고 저는 그 제기하신 의견에 전적으로 동의합니다.
A lot will depend on what the next government's policy will be, but in many ways I agree with you.
Thank you very much. I would like to remind all of our distinguished friends in the audience today that if you have any questions about the Oki Lam case or any questions about North Korean human rights in general, please feel free to email to committee@hrnk.org. Once again, please take a look at our website. I'm sure you've done that already, hrnk.org. Befriend us on social media. We look forward to keeping you informed. Thank you very much for joining us today. We know that there is a lot going on today, and we highly appreciate your presence. Dr. Oki Lam, thank you very much for everything that you do to inspire us. We promise you that we will continue to do our best to help with this campaign. I would like to thank our distinguished speakers today, Dr. Cohen, Chairman Tae Sung-young, Chairman Tae Hong-jae, Mrs. Kwon Eun-young, and I would like to thank our volunteer VIP translator, Commissioner Michael Kwon. Thank you very much for being with us once again. I would like to thank Dr. Che Gu and our friends at the U.S. Korea Institute at SAIS, Angela Che and her wonderful team of interns, our own HRNK interns. We will continue to keep you informed on our publications and activities and look forward to future events. Thank you very much. Please join me in thanking our speakers.
수고하셨습니다.
감사합니다.
무슨 병원 있으세요? 좀 말씀 주셨습니다.
Thank you.
번역을 너무 잘해주셔서.
Are you seeing people now in the State Department on the Hill? You have we're seeing different people.
Yeah, yesterday we met Robert King, and on tomorrow,
Thank you.
yeah, Thursday we are meeting a few Frank Wolf. Yeah, we are